Alright, we should be live.
Hello friends! Welcome back to our last day of the science for the week, and I am really excited about our circuit project this week. So if you're new, every Friday we do a really fun circuits project. And I don't actually know where I put mine, but we're going to make a fun little lightsaber so that if you are a Star Wars fan, you can celebrate May the 4th on Monday. And as I was sitting down, I had this idea, and I think we can pretty easily change these into the Kylo Ren crossguard lightsabers and the double lightsaber of who?
Why are you asking me?
I forget who has the double, but I think we can make both of those. And if you're interested in doing those, I will post up a top-down tutorial for those over the weekend. And doing this one with us today will totally help you get all the skills you need to make that. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to shout out, comments in the comments right now. We are starting to switch over so that we'll do comments in Zoom. So we'll have the Zoom classroom open at the time that we're in YouTube, and you guys can comment in for shout outs or questions so we can still be really interactive. And we'll do that part through Zoom so that way we can be on YouTube Kids. So we're going to start phasing out comments on YouTube, and we'll get those comments through Zoom so that everybody, all the parents can be protected. I totally understand where everyone's coming from. So we're going to make that transition work for us over this next sort of week coming up. So something to plan for. And I always go over our supplies before we go over through our shout outs. What you need today is some batteries. Coin cell batteries will work. You need one per lightsaber that you're going to make. You need 3 popsicle sticks per lightsaber. If you don't have popsicle sticks, I know that there's a few of our friends that don't have popsicle sticks out there. Some ideas would be sort of if you cut out similar sized rectangles in cardboard. It could either be cereal box cardboard or sort of the thicker Amazon box cardboard would work. You could try to use plastic knives. If you cut off sort of just the bottom parts of those plastic knives and spoons, that might work pretty well. Those are some options that you could use instead of popsicle sticks if you don't have them. Then if you want to make it into a lightsaber, you need a glue stick. If you want to keep it as a Harry Potter wand, you don't need the glue stick. You'll need an LED in whatever color you want your lightsaber or Harry Potter wand to be. And then you're going to need some copper tape, which is how we're going to wire it all up, and some electrical tape. If you don't have electrical tape, no problem. You could use duct tape for it. You could use masking tape for it. You could even use Scotch tape if you needed. Scotch tape's a little trickier because it doesn't it wrinkles and crinkles really easily, but it would make a really cool clear project, and everybody loves to see that. And then some scissors. We've got these crazy scissors just because it makes it really easy to cut popsicle sticks, but a pair of normal scissors will be great. We just have to cut one. And if you have a marker or a pen, we can label our stuff, which will make it easier for you guys putting it together. And then if you're making a lightsaber, you also need a glue gun because that's how we're going to attach it to our project. That's what we need. And one quick thing before we get to shout outs. So Amazon is shipping now. Yes. And they're shipping pretty decent. So next week we're actually in our Harry Potter week. We're doing Witches and Wizards. It's going to be so much fun. And I have this brand new paper circuit project. And for the paper circuit project, I just want to tell you before we get to our shout outs that you're going to want an LED color for each house color. So if you only bought rainbow LEDs so far, you probably might want to get on Amazon and grab some they have kits that have all the colors in there so that you can make this sort of light up Harry Potter hat that we're going to make next week on Friday, in a sorting hat.
Does the link that you have for your Amazon link have the kit, or is it for...
Yes, the Amazon link that's in there should take you to a list, and it should have the coin cell batteries, copper tape, LEDs. It should have a lot of what you would need to make any of our paper circuit projects on those Fridays.
That link should be in the YouTube description.
Yes, and it's also in your patron email that comes out to you. Yeah. All right, so let's see who's here. Who do we have here? Who made it first?
Oh my gosh, there looks like we got a crowd today.
Yes.
First up is our friend from California, Naomi.
Naomi! Hello. I'm glad you're joining us today.
And then following right at her heels is George and Henry.
Hello, George and Henry. Man, they took second all week.
Yeah.
They're always right in there.
Yeah, they're in the
pretty much first all week last week.
I think that if you were to tabulate their totals, they would come in first as the total
I know.
for the week.
It's the race to get here and watch Tiny Dancer.
We've also got Ruby.
Hey, Ruby!
And
They're gonna go out on a tadpole hunt, I think.
Miss Ray Ray's in the science world.
Hello, Ray Ray. Welcome. I'm excited for you. She's making a wand, I know for sure. She likes Harry Potter more.
Kaya, I don't know about you guys, but Kaya made some...
Kaya had an awesome Tiny Dancer.
I think I can pull it over
She
there.
printed off, if you're new, we have some fun printouts for Tiny Dancer, who's our tadpole that we had going live beforehand. And we're watching the process of metamorphosis with Tiny Dancer and friends. And the process takes about 2 months, so it actually takes a long time. And you guys can watch it in the beginning every day. And we have some fun, silly printouts of like, make Tiny Dancer some dance outfits.
I actually put it on the screen.
It's on there.
Right next to
Yay, Kaya.
your little glue gun is Kaya's Dancer.
Yay! So yeah, you can print it out and send it in to us, and you can get your Tiny Dancer spotlighted. Whatever, is it a ballerina one?
It is the ballerina. She's got a pink tutu.
Yes. That makes me happy.
Yes, totally.
I can't wait to see some hip hop,
I
camo gear.
I did a hip hop one.
It'll be fun.
After Kaya, we've got Venetia.
Hello, Venetia!
And Venetia, what's wrong with your foot? Let us know.
Oh no.
We've also got Nell is in the house.
Hello, Nell. It's nice to meet you. Ooh, I'm excited that you're joining us. This is a great day, and next week's gonna be so much fun. Every week is so much fun.
Love
Harry Potter's gonna be amazing.
We've got the goods in the house.
Hello, goods! They got 14 Oreos yesterday, stacked 3 at high.
What?
I was so impressed.
I got.
And their the focus on their picture, it was like so much focus. I was so impressed. That was tasty yesterday.
Oreos was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I like
We've also got Kailani and Kikoa.
Yay! Hello, Kailani and Keikoa! This will be a fun one. Most everybody likes Star Wars, I think.
It looks like our cousins, Calero.
Oh,
and
hello,
Sky.
Sky and Calero! Yay! Welcome back! I'm excited that you're coming back to us. Maybe we'll get them all week next week.
Oh, it's Nell was actually Calvin. Hi, Calvin.
Oh, hi, Calvin! Yay! I'm excited that you're back. We were talking about you guys. We missed you.
Nice.
It's been a little bit. I'm excited that you're back. Yes.
We got Calliope here.
Hello, Calliope.
And
I love that name.
We have
I mean, the short name is good too. Hi, Griffin. Griffin's gonna be a pro. He's done this one a couple times.
We got Anna and Clara.
Hello, Anna and Clara. Welcome back today.
And Connor and Grayson.
Connor and Grayson in the house. Yes.
And then we have Rohan.
Hello, Rohan. I love that Rohan's been like in Zoom with us every day.
All day, all week.
I love it. Yeah, I know. It makes me really happy. It's like what we go for, creating that little community.
We got Abel here.
Hi, Abel. I wonder what color Abel will
And
use.
Tamsin and Laurel.
Hello, Tamsin and Laura. We got like a full crowd today.
We have like a lot of Star Wars people shouting out for Star Wars. Not as many Harry Potter. Are there any Harry
You
Potter
know,
fans
I
in
think
the
maybe
house?
we'll have to do a Star Wars week too.
Yeah.
I have the next few weeks planned out, but we have so many weeks ahead of us.
Yeah.
We can throw in a Star Wars week. Because I was going to do a Star Wars camp this summer, so I've got a lot of cool stuff. I'm sure we can reuse some of that stuff.
And it looks like Venetia sprained her ankle.
Oh, Venetia, I hope your ankle is better soon.
Abel has a question.
Yeah.
He's wondering if any type of copper tape works.
Like slug copper tape, maybe? Yes. Any type of copper tape should work.
As long as it's sticky.
Yeah.
Does it even need to be
I've only
sticky?
ever known of one type of copper tape. If you're thinking of like garden copper tape versus electrical copper tape, same thing. So yeah, that would work. Or like Havoc aluminum tape. They have like silver tape. That works too.
Kaya says Harry Potter. She's
going Harry Potter.
For Harry Potter.
I'm
I
going
like
Star
it.
Wars. I just kind of like that.
Isabella's going Star Wars.
And there's a Harry Potter week.
So,
All right, are we ready to start?
we're ready to get started. We're going to do, you need to grab your 3 popsicle sticks. And we are going to do it. What you're going to do first is you are going to measure your popsicle stick with copper tape so that it kind of comes over like a candy cane. So it's going to hook over like a candy cane. All right? And then you're going to peel your copper tape. If this is your first time with copper tape, I will show you what will happen if you peel it all at the same time. It won't be happy. Normally, you want to peel it just so you have a little bit showing, and then you start sticking it down on what you are going to stick it on. and you peel this white backing off as you stick it down. And the reason for that is that if you peel it all the way off, it gets really curly and really hard to deal with. And then it just doesn't work. So the first thing that you want to do is peel it and stick it. And you're going to peel it sort of just over one top like a candy cane. I'll give that to you, Georgia, if you're going to make one alongside us. Or maybe you wait till Zoom. That's totally cool too. So I'm going to peel it again, and I'm going to start it so it sort of comes maybe like an inch from the top. And notice that the rest of my copper tape's going this way, because I'm going to wrap it around this popsicle stick, and I'm going to stick it all the way down to the bottom. All right, now if your copper tape rips as you're sticking it down, we got to start over. All right, if your copper tape doesn't make it all the way down, if it makes it to like here, we got to start over. So we want it to go all the way down on one side. So from the bottom all the way up, and then it goes over, so all one piece. We're gonna go over that top and just a little bit right here. So your first popsicle stick's gonna look like this, which is really handy.
I barely made it.
Isabella's got hers going. George is working hard on hers. Got to get it started. Oh, you want to flip it around. I'm gonna go up for the first part, or you could go down from the top to the bottom. That'll work. Yep. All right. So again, it's gonna be like sort of a little bit here, and it's gonna come up and over, and then all the way down. Georgia's doing hers where she goes from the top all the way to the bottom, and when she gets to the bottom, she can go under the bottom and come up a little bit. All right. So we want our first popsicle to stick, and if you're using like a piece of cardboard, your first little sliver of cardboard or your first piece of plastic will be just like that. And you're going to take your pen, and at the bottom, underneath the short side, the very bottom, you're going to write the number 1. Just like that.
Can I get a different pen?
Yep.
No, I'll just do this.
All right, so we're going to write the number 1 on the bottom. And then we can take that popsicle stick and put it down.
Oh, my
Was not
start
tricky.
over.
Oh, yeah, Georgia's so close. You might be able to make it work. Hang on. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we saved. Oh, we didn't save it. Yes. You can start over, and then I'll help you as we go, okay, Georgia? So give that another try.
Mom,
All right,
is this good?
for number 2, you're going to take your battery, and you're going to put it at the bottom of your popsicle stick, and you're going to use your marker, and you're going to draw a little line at the top. Kind of like you're measuring how tall this battery is, like you would do on a doorway at home. So we're just going to take it, we're going to line it up with the bottom, and we're just going to draw a line at the top. And that's going to help us know how big that battery is. And what you'll do is you'll take your pair of scissors, or in our case, our pair of like giant, enormous cutters, and you're going to cut right on that line. All right, so now I have these 2 parts to my popsicle stick that look like this. This one I do not care about. Off it goes. So I got this short one, and on the short one, on either side, doesn't matter because we're not actually putting any copper tape on this one. So either side, you're going to write the number 2 on it. So you'll have this sort of shortened stick with a number 2 on it. Ooh, beautiful job, Georgia. All right, you can use this to write the number 1 at the bottom. So you should have 2 sticks so far. You got, the first one that has sort of like a candy cane up and over, all the way down to the bottom, all one piece, and it's got the number 1 on the short side. Then you have the one that you cut, and that one's gonna have the number 2. So we measured how tall the battery was, and then we cut it for number 2. All right, Georgia, I'm gonna give yours a cut for you. Zoop. There you go, that's your number 2. And now we just have one more popsicle stick. I know, this is great, right?
Mama,
So,
I have a different kind of pen.
The other popsicle stick that you're gonna use
Spray paint on it.
is you're gonna take and you're gonna make some belts. So you wanna first decide where you're gonna hold it. These guys are gonna be together, and if you wanna hold it and you want your switch way down here, that's fine. If you want your switch sort of up here so you can hold it a little better, that's where I kind of like it. I like my switch like sort of in the middle. So you gotta think in your head, where do I want my switch on this third popsicle stick. I'm gonna put mine in the middle. And the way we install our switch is we're gonna give our popsicle stick a belt, which might sound funny right now, but I'm literally going to just wrap a piece of copper tape around to make a belt on my popsicle stick. So it's all the way around on both sides. And I have this lovely little belt on my popsicle stick. Here, Georgia, you need a little bit more. So on your third popsicle stick, we're on number 3 right now. Your first thing is going to do a belt, just like that, all the way around in one nice piece. And then a little bit below it, we're going to do another belt. So I have 2 belts. And so I'm going to stick it on, and I'm going to just wrap it all the way around. If you wrap it and it goes over itself, totally fine.
Wait, isn't that,
Alright.
how would that be fine if it,
It's going to be totally fine, because we're still going to still be able to touch copper to copper. All right, so now I have 2 belts. I have a high belt and a low belt. And this middle section right here is actually where my switch will be. So when I hold this, I'll be pressing the switch right there. If you wanted your switch higher, you could put it a little higher. If you wanted it lower, you could have put it a little lower. But this right here is going to be where you put your switch. And you don't want to put your switch any lower than where number 2 comes down. So we don't want our switch down here. We need our switch somewhere above that number 2 area. All right. So we've got 2 belts, go all the way around. And now we have to connect our belts to the battery and the LED. So what we'll do, and this is a little tricky. I wonder if we can get a close-up. Beautiful, Georgia. You're going to add a second belt now, too.
from where?
Just below.
Where?
Just below. So you have your first belt, and just below, maybe like a centimeter or so. See, Georgia? I've got one here, and I've got one there. Just below, you're going to add a second belt. And then what we're going to do is I am going to peel off my copper tape. Just a little bit like this. And then I'm going to fold that part over so the top of this copper tape is stuck to itself. So it won't be sticky on the backside. The top will just be sort of stuck to itself. So I'm going to sort of fold it over. So it's going over and it's looping in on itself. I'm going to press it down. Just like that. So if you imagined like a staple, or sometimes when you get that Scotch tape out and it flips over on the end and then that end isn't sticking, you're like, oh, I've got to throw this piece out. This time we actually want that. So this end piece right up here is no longer sticky because I folded it over and pinched it. That's a really important step that we want. So now I have a stickiness, but the stickiness, I've got it folded over just a little bit, and then the stickiness starts right after that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the part that isn't sticky, and it's going to hit one of my belts. Just like this. I'm going to put my finger on the belt, and on this one I'm going to go all the way down.
Show that again.
Yes. So let me back it up. Zoop. So I folded this over, and I'll show you guys how I folded it over again. So I just took the end, and I just sort of looped it over like that.
No.
So that it's not sticky anymore. And then I'm going to take that part that's not sticky anymore, and I'm going to press it on to my copper tape belt. And then I'm going to go all the way down. Oops, now I'm not sticky at all. There we go. I'm going to go all the way down. And if I have extra for one of them, I can actually go around, which will be a good thing. So this one I have a little extra, I can go around. And that's totally fine. So I'll have it just like that. All right, so this one I went from the copper tape belt, so the top one I went up and over just a little bit. But remember, I curled that copper tape over. So it was folded in on itself. So I have copper touching copper on this belt, not copper touching glue touching copper. So that's what we kind of got rid of by folding it over. All right, was the copper touching glue touching copper.
This one do I go,
Oh, that one's the long one. If you did the long one, you're just going to end it at the bottom. And that's totally fine. So I'll show you on Georgia's again. So hers is going straight up. We're just going to fold that little bit over. So we're just going to fold it over just like this. See, it's like a little hook. Doop. And then we're going to pinch that hook so that it's stuck to itself right there. And then we'll take her piece and we'll hook it right into the belt that she did. And then we're gonna go up. And since she's got a little extra space, we'll go up and over for hers. Like this. Just like that. And nothing has to be perfect here. No big deal if it's not. So we've got it up and over. And we're going to do it again with another piece of copper tape. And this time, we're going to go from the bottom. Uh-oh. We are like out of copper tape on this roll. I'm sure we'll find another piece. All right. So what we're going to do again is we're going to peel it off a little bit. Just a little bit. And we are going to, again, fold it over. Hang on, Georgia. We're going to fold it over. So see how I've got this little hook going on? It sort of comes up and then out, and then I'm going to pinch it down. I'm going to pinch it down so that top part is not sticky. And this time I'm going to go from the bottom belt to the bottom of my lightsaber. So I'm going to stick the non-sticky part. Yep. And I'm going to go from here into the bottom.
Does this work?
Just like this. Hang on, Georgia. So now I've got it going from here.
No.
And there's a really important part. There is no copper tape between my two switches. It's just the metal.
It doesn't. I actually like it so.
Okay. All right. So we have our third one. We've got the two belts that we made that go all the way around. And then we added in these lovely little loops to make copper touch copper. And one went from the top belt up and over. And the other one went from the bottom belt just down to the bottom. But there's nothing crossing over right here right now. That's good. We don't want anything to cross because that's going to be our switch. So we'll close that later. All right. Ooh, we got lots of copper tape that just came in. Fantastic. Here you go, Georgia.
Let me check and see if anybody's got any questions.
I was going to check for questions. And we're also going to write the number 3. And you are going to write the number 3 at the bottom. So this is the top because it has this little loop that comes over. So this is my top. This is my bottom. But I'm going to write it on the bottom that has the long lines. I'm going to write my 3 down here.
What if I already wrote my 3?
If you wrote your 3 in another spot, that's okay. I'm going to write mine just like that. All right, so I've got this one piece that goes up and over into the top belt, and then from the bottom belt down to the bottom, I put my number 3 on the inside. So you're working on getting from that
All right,
piece
so
there.
we have Clara and Anna want to know, when it wraps over the top, should it touch the belt on the other side?
No, it does not need to. It could if you did it, that's not a problem, but you don't need to. Yeah. And then once you have the one that goes up and over, like Georgia has this piece that goes up and over. And so she's going to do the same hook. She's going to stick it to itself. And it's going to go from here, the bottom belt, down to the bottom of her popsicle stick. All right? And then we're going to write the 3 sort of really small at the bottom of that, which is totally perfect. And now we have 3 popsicle sticks. So you should have 3 popsicle sticks. They all have numbers. 1, 2, and 3. So they look kind of like this.
Mama, it doesn't stick.
And then we can flip them over and they look like this. All right. So Georgia's got her little piece flipped over. Good job getting that part done, Georgia. And then we'll go right on here. Georgia's is not very sticky. I kind of agree with that. That is tricky because it's not very sticky. That's okay, we'll make it work. And all this circuit stuff is actually going to be on the inside, so you won't even see it. All right, so you're going to pick up number 1. And I'm going to put all my numbers so they face you. All your numbers are going to face the same way. You're going to pick up number 1. It should have this sort of on one side and then the 1 on the other. You're going to pick up number 2, and you're going to make it face the number 1, and you're going to sandwich it. So it looks like that. See, I got my 2 right there. And then you're going to pick up your number 3, and you're going to sandwich that. Number 3. So I just stacked them, so I've got 1 in the front, then number 2, and then number 3.
I feel like
And it should look like this, where you have these long pieces of copper tape will all be sandwiched towards 2. So if I look at the other side of it, here was my number 1, here was my number 2, and here was my number 3. So you notice that this long piece of copper tape right here is still touching 2. And the same thing for 3. This long piece of copper stuff will be touching 3 when we stack it together.
Yep.
All right? And then you're going to, wait, hang on. I'm going to flip them over.
What?
So with Georgia's, what do we got? We got number 1. And then you're going to behind number 1 stack number 2. And behind number 2 stack number 3. There you go. And you're going to take a piece of tape with your beautiful little stack. And you're going to wrap it around this spot, but you cannot wrap over the top of these 2 belts. So you're going to wrap it around like a spot up towards the top. And this is just going to hold our little guys together. So you notice I didn't cover the belt when I wrapped that tape around.
How do you cut this?
Oh, I just ripped it. This is just behind you.
Hello.
All right. Bridget, your mouth needs a little washing. There you go. So once you have your sandwich stack, again, you have number 1 sort of at the front, and then 2, and then 3. All your long pieces of copper tape are on the inside. So if you look at my outside, number 1 just has copper tape at the top, and then nothing on the bottom. And number 3 has the copper tape on the top with the belts, but nothing on the bottom. All right, so the outsides of your things should be kind of bare in terms of copper tape, and that's a good thing. That's just what we want. So now we are going to test our LED. Very important step, because we don't want to go through all of this and then find out it doesn't work because the battery doesn't work or the LED doesn't work. So you have a coin cell battery, and this is what gives all of the energy to our little electrons that are going to run through our circuit. The electrons will make light when they go through this LED because they get to slide down this little hole and they're like, woohoo, it's fun! And when they say yippee, they make that light. And the trick to LEDs is if you look at your LED closely, there's one short leg and one long leg. And if you put the long and the short both on the top, nothing happens. If you put the long and the short leg on the bottom, nothing happens. If I put the short leg on the top and the long leg on the bottom, nothing happens, even though I now have a circuit. I really do. I could go from the top of my battery into the LED and then into the bottom. So I do have a circle or a circuit that those electrons could travel through, but they're being a little stubborn. They're like, no way, not traveling. And that's because they're looking at the bottom of that slide instead of looking at the top. And they're like, I'm too lazy. I am not climbing up those steps just to have some fun. So if we flip the slide around so they're at the top of the slide, then I have my LED that lights up. So take a moment and make sure your battery and your LED light up together.
The goods want to know, how much should they make their tape double-sided, that little flip over? Can you give them
Oh, just like a tiny bit. Even like a teeny tiny bit is enough to make your circuit be perfect. Teeny tiny bit.
Just trying to give the...
We're just trying to make it so it doesn't go from copper into glue back into the copper. So our copper tape makes these roadways for the electrons to travel on. And right now they're sort of going up. They're going from the battery. They'll go up into our LED and then down through the switch back into the battery. But if the switch has sort of copper tape, glue, copper tape, those electrons, when they get to the switch, have to go from the copper tape and they have to like climb up into the glue and get into the other copper tape before they can start running around again to keep that LED lit up. And what will happen is they won't want to do it. So by smushing it over a little bit, you got copper tape to copper tape, and they have a new pathway that bypasses the glue. And they get over the glue really easily. So you've got your battery, you've checked it, we're doing good. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna install our battery. So the number 2, the middle one, everything should be sort of even at the top pieces. And you should have this little gap at the bottom. So the top is where I have this tape that came up and over, and the bottom has nothing on it right now. So it's just wood on the outside. And I'm just gonna slip my battery in, and it's gonna fit so nicely because we cut that little piece of the popsicle stick. So you're gonna slide your battery in, doesn't matter which way. Top or bottom, doesn't matter. You gotta choose just one LED. So George is asking if she can have two. You gotta choose just one. Although I am gonna work on getting those double-sided lightsabers and, oh, it's the Darth Maul or something. Yeah. Is the double-sided one. And the Kylo Ren, which is the cross lightsaber. I'll work on those this weekend so that my Star Wars fans, you have a little something to celebrate with. So now I'm gonna tape in my battery, just taping around it to make sure that it can't come out. And the nice thing about electrical tape is you can actually even stretch it really good, and you can make it really stuck in there. And then I'm going to just put a piece over the bottom like that, so I really can't get to that battery. Yep, so Georgia's got it. You just slip it right into that slit. Let's see Georgia's. Oops, we're going to flip yours around, Georgia. So notice Georgia, she's got all these little copper tape lines on the outside. We want those on the inside, which is no big deal. That's a very common accident. So we're just gonna flip hers to the inside, just like that. So again, now we don't have that copper tape that comes down. And then we are going to wrap this up for Georgia, give her a little spot. Oop, Isabella's doing great. There you go, Billy. All right, so if you're at the spot where you were stacking your popsicle sticks, no big deal. You'll have your 1 and then your 2 and your 3. And remember, we want 2 to have all the tops together. So the parts that have the little pieces that came over is where the top is. So the 2 is there, and I have this gap where there's nothing on the outside. So I'm going to tape Georgia's together for her real fast, just like this. Just a piece of tape around. It doesn't need to be much yet, because what we'll do is we'll actually wrap a hilt the way she wants. And then, so yeah, you're going to slide in your battery. Go for it. You're going to slide it in, and we'll get some tape out so that we can get hers taped in too. And it's not going to work quite yet. You want some help? Yes? No? All right. It's not going to work quite yet, because even if I put my LED up here, I can put it up here and I can touch these 2 pieces, and it's not going to work. And you might say, Dr. Erica, of course it doesn't work. You probably hooked your LED up backwards. And I could flip it around, and it also doesn't work. And you might be like, oh my God, Dr. Erica, my project doesn't work. What did I do wrong? And I'm here to tell you, you did nothing wrong yet. Don't worry about it. Still okay. But we are going to pause because we have a question.
Vinity would like to know if we can tape can the tape touch the copper tape? Can the...
Yes. Whoa, no. I lost an LED. Yes. So this type of tape, copper tape, masking tape, scotch tape, totally fine to touch your copper tape, because these tapes are made out of something completely different. So copper tape has metal, and metal helps those electrons move. It is like an awesomely big highway for those electrons to move on. But electrical tape is made out of like plastic and rubber, not conductors. So they're like kind of like a big brick wall for those electrons, and they hit it and they're like, oh, can't go there. And they look for a different pathway. Masking tape is made out of paper, which is also a pretty good insulator. So if it's not a conductor, it's called an insulator. And then scotch tape is plastic, so that's also an insulator. The electrons can't really move through it. So you will not break your circuit by touching copper tape with masking tape, electrical tape, scotch tape. Don't need to worry about that. Yeah.
Do we have tape that's conductive?
Copper tape is the conductive tape.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's copper tape that's conductive, and there's also a silver one that's like an aluminum tape. All right. So you might be like, oh man, it doesn't work because no matter which way I hook up my LED, nothing's happening. And that's because the electrons are coming off one side of the battery, and on the inside, because we hit our circuit, there's that little piece that came all the way up, and we tried to go through the LED, and then we came down, but wait, there's a gap. And wood is also an insulator. So those electrons see the wood and they're like, ah, it's a big wood wall. I can't do anything with that. They can't move. So what we need to do is close our switch. So the way we do that right now as we're building it, take a little strip of copper tape. You're not going to peel the back off. You're just going to press it on. And then as you press it, now I've closed the switch. because the electrons can go through that little bridge, and you'll see which way you need to put your LED on. So mine is lighting up right away. You might have put it in when you try your LED, and you might put it in this way and it doesn't turn on. That's okay. Flip it over, and then it might turn on for you. And so then I'm going to take my switch away and I'm going to tape my LED in, making sure I keep the legs on the same side that I had when it worked, when it lit up.
Mine's not lighting
So
up.
I'm just going to
Mine's not lighting
tape
up.
this in. All right, and I'm hearing a couple from my kids. Mine's not lighting up, so
Oh,
you
now
might
it
be
is.
hearing that in your house. So Isabella, what did you do to make yours light up?
I just kept moving it.
Ooh, Isabella just kept moving her LED around to make it light up. And part of that is if your LED legs aren't touching that copper tape, it won't light up. So if it's on the wood instead of the copper tape, it won't light up for you.
Calera would like to know if duct tape is conductive.
Duct tape is not conductive. It is also an insulator. Yeah, it has a silver look.
It's not.
It might not be as good of an insulator, but it is not conductive, so you will be okay with duct tape.
It's not.
All right, so I have just taped in my LED like this,
Mine's
and I'm gonna help you guys. If yours isn't working, it can be really frustrating, but don't worry. I will troubleshoot Georgia's live, and if yours still isn't working, when you see what maybe happened with Georgia's, we'll be over in Zoom and I can help you with that. So I'm just gonna double check that when I do put something conductive over this, that it lights up. And mine still does, so that is looking good. Georgia's was saying, oh, it's not working. So remember, the first thing we have to do is cover our switch with some copper tape or something conductive to make sure that we close that gap. And then we will test one side. Doesn't work. Let's test the other side. Like this. Oh, hers lit up. So that does work. It does work. I'm going to take Georgia's battery in because we do want to make sure we keep that battery in. Once the battery falls out, all of the electrons having all that energy to run around that circuit and make something light up go away. And then they're like, what do we do?
I'm kind of bored.
And they hang out. Yeah, they're like, I'm bored. And that is sort of the end of it for us. All right, so I'm going to wrap Georgia's up for her.
So we have a few troubleshooting. So
Yeah.
Venetia's does not light up.
Okay.
Calero's would like to see how to make the switch again.
Okay.
And Naomi taped the copper tape to the inside so the LED legs are sandwiched on both sides of the middle popsicle stick.
That's totally fine.
And
That's how I used to do it, actually, Naomi. I used to have it where we didn't have these little pieces that came out, and we just had it on the inside of the popsicle stick and we sandwiched it. I just found over time that it made it a little easier not doing that.
so we have Venetia's doesn't light up. We will be troubleshooting in
Yes, we will definitely troubleshoot in Zoom, and then I'm going to think about, let's see. So, Venetia, you've got to tell me a little bit more about what you think might be the problem. And Calero, I'm going to go over the switch for you in just 1 second once I tape Georgia's LED in. And again, one thing to make sure is that these LED legs are touching that copper tape. If the LED leg is off the copper tape, even on just one side, it won't work. All right, and sometimes even if it's not taped in, it still won't work. Sometimes you really have to press on it, which is why it's always important to tape that LED in,
I like
just like that. So I'm just taping it in. And I'm taping down a little bit just to give it a lot of security. All right, and then Calero, for the switch, we had these two belts on our popsicle sticks. So right now there's a gap because this wood gap is on both sides of that popsicle stick. So the electrons can go all the way up one popsicle stick into the LED here, and then they get this gap and they can't go anywhere. But if we cover that gap with some copper tape, they can go into that copper tape like a bridge. And so what I'll do is I'll just take a piece of copper tape. It still has its back on. There's nothing special there. And then I just covered between the two pieces of the belt. So if I only go like on one piece of the belt, it doesn't work because I'm not bridging those two pieces of copper tape. I need to make a bridge, so it needs to touch both of them. Just like that. All right. And of course, now we also need to make our switch because this is sort of like, you don't want to have to carry around both of these when you play with your lightsaber or your wand, right? Like, that could be a bummer. So what we'll do is you can take a piece of duct tape masking tape, scotch tape, whatever you want. You're gonna take a little piece and you're gonna cut it. Whoop, I'm dropping everything today. Just like this, and we are gonna stick some copper tape outside to the sticky side. So I'm gonna stick the white part of the copper tape onto the sticky part right here. I'm basically just covering my switch with a whole bunch of copper tape. So now it's like it's almost not even sticky because it's not sticky on this side. It is sticky on this side. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut around that copper tape. Just like this.
Why?
So I have a very unsticky switch. And I did this mainly because I wanted to have a black switch that would go in with my lightsaber hilt. And what we'll do is you'll take your little guy, and when it tapes here, we can tape around it. And then when this is up, it's open. And when this is down, it's closed and it's on. And so all we need is like to tape around it a little bit to really secure it in. Because once we lose it, we'll have to go make another one. And you can secure it a lot. You could secure it over the top piece of it, as long as it just doesn't connect the two. If you secure the whole thing, like tape all the way around, it'll be always on. But we want to be able to choose when it's on or off. So I'll just take a little piece of copper tape here and wrap it around so that this switch can be used. And we'll cut it off.
Are you doing this
Just
for
like
me?
that. Is this George's? Oh, that is yours.
If you guys are not being
Is it okay?
successful, don't worry. We will troubleshoot in Zoom. I'll go open it up right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up Zoom. And for my friends who are being successful, once you have it wired up, we're gonna add the lightsaber part. Right now it's a Harry Potter wand, so if you wanna keep it as a wand, keep it as a wand. If you want it to be a lightsaber, I'm gonna show you how to do that. And you do need a glue gun for that. If you don't have a glue gun, I guess what you could use also is like a clear straw. If you have one, you can put the clear straw over. Yep, so you're gonna do exactly what George is doing. You stick the glue gun into the bottom of the glue stick, and it makes like a hole. It kind of like burrows in, and you'll pull it out and you'll gently put it on top of your LED. It won't go all the way in, it'll go a little bit, and you're gonna hold it really patiently. Yeah, so now you're gonna pull it off and see how her glue stick went a little bit on top of the LED. And we're gonna hold it there for just a little bit till that glue dries, and then we've got to add a whole bunch of glue here. So we're just gonna glue it in, glue it all in, and you got to be really patient right here. Patience, yeah, patience is really important right here, because if you move it too much, you'll have sort of a lopsided wand. All right, so you really want to just like hang out and wait for it to dry. And then you've got this beautiful little lightsaber. And the cool thing is it lights up through the glue stick. It kind of does that with the straw too, but I feel like the glue stick really gives you that like lightsaber-y vibe. And for George's, like I can tell her glue isn't dry because it's still really crystal clear down here, and it kind of dries a little bit white for when we get that. And then
mine's square.
you have an awesome little lightsaber. Oh, Isabella used a square LED and it maybe is having a little bit more trouble. We'll have to troubleshoot that for her later. But if you have like a normal sort of round top LED, this will work for you. And what I sometimes like to do, depending on how you want to play with your LED or with your lightsaber, is sometimes I will wrap around here to give it a little extra support if you want to. Or if you don't, no big deal. You could also add extra glue. But if you want some extra support, like if you think, oh, I might drop this lightsaber, or like I'm the most amazing in battle, because you probably are, and I might accidentally take an opponent out and I don't want my lightsaber to break in the moment of truth. Nobody wants that. You could take some more of your tape, your non-conductive tape, so not copper tape, and you could sort of wrap it right around where that glue is. And it's kind of cool because then it hides the fact that there's an LED there, and it just sort of lights up from the bottom. And that is what we have for these guys. And I'm gonna publish a video for you guys that will have 2 LEDs coming out, and I think I can also do one that will have like the double lightsaber, which I think will be really fun too. So I've got some plans in store for you guys to do those, and those will come up this weekend for all of our patrons. You will know about those this weekend. Next week we're doing Harry Potter week, so we have 2 days of potions for Harry Potter that we're gonna do. We're gonna make that paper circuit sorting hat, which will tell you what house you're in. And the best part is just where you touch the hat, so you can check your friends and nobody can choose. It'll choose for you, just like in Harry Potter, which I think is awesome. And we have 2 engineering projects. We're gonna build a Quidditch field and do some catapult Quidditch, and we're gonna make Honeydukes fudge flies next week. It's gonna be amazing. You don't need too much that's special, although I will say for the potions, one of the days you'll need some purple cabbage, because we're gonna make purple cabbage juice again. And then the other day you'll need some vitamin C, which you probably have, some iodine, which you might have in your first aid kit, and some hydrogen peroxide. And then like cornstarch or potato starch. So those are sort of the funny things you'll need for next week. But you guys will get an email tomorrow. All of our patrons will get an email tomorrow that have the whole supply list. I think Evan's actually been attaching it for you guys the past few days. And that'll tell you everything you need for all of next week. And you'll get that email that'll tell you everything we're doing each day. So you can pick and choose the days that work for you and have like a nice fun schedule in there. If you're not on Patreon, you should come on over. Being a patron helps you get into our Zoom lunch. So after this, we're going to go and troubleshoot in Zoom with our friends, and we'll have lunch together. We'll watch Tiny Dancer together. It gets you access to all of the PDF downloads that we have. So when we make the paper circuit sorting hat, it'll just be a printout, and it'll show you where you need to wire everything up. So that makes it easy. It gets you into adult science night with us. We made rainbow unicorn paper with George's family yesterday, which was a lot of fun. And it gets you sort of all of the supply lists ahead of time, all of like the calendar of what we're doing, so you're always in the know. And it starts at $1 a week, so it's like not super huge. So make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our Facebook pages, share our message of community science. Thank you so much for joining us while we make these awesome little lightsabers to celebrate May the 4th on Monday. And if you're having trouble, come on over into Zoom. Evan has it opened, and I will make an awesome list. We have done a really good job getting everybody's circuits to work in the past, so I have full faith that if you just hold it up, we can make them all work for you guys. We will see our friends who don't join us in Zoom on Monday, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic weekend. Bye! All right, Georgia, this one's yours.